hello. D. McClung, Art Monologues. That's where I talk, and you listen. Or not. The question might be more of something like this. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you actually hearing what I'm saying? Do you understand, comprehend the words and the ideas that I express? Let's liken this to a painting. Let's suppose that you, well, first let's start with me. Let's suppose that I produce a painting, an oil painting or an acrylic, and I have my, and by the way, I am an artist. I do create works of art, not just words of art, but actual visual renderings using paint, among other things. Paint, draw, sculpt, make things, installations, photographs. Digital photography is the thing. I don't produce my own photographs in the little photo lab that like I used to back in the other century. And suppose I produce this painting. I take a canvas of a certain size, let's just say 24 inches by 24 inches. A canvas stretched on stretchers, square canvas. I take a paintbrush or two, I have several, and I take some paint, various colors, red, black, white, and in the case of being an artist or a painter, black and white are actually colors. Some of you may disagree with that and say, oh, yeah, black and white's not a color. Technically speaking, you are correct in that sense. However, when I go to my paint stores back in the studio back there, we're in the warehouse part of my studio, and suppose I want to paint my 24-inch by 24-inch canvas with house paint, which is perfectly allowed. It's acrylic, and might be some consistency differences in that and a tube of acrylic paint that you buy at the craft store or the art supply store. So I go back there and I pick up a gallon of red paint. It is red. I pick up a gallon of white paint and a gallon of black paint. Open them up and I dip my brush and I dip them into the paint can. That's a gallon can. Yes, I buy paint by the gallon. First off, because I don't like to run out of paint. Secondly, because I'm miserly. I like to have large quantities of paint. Don't ever want to run out of paint. And chances are I'm not going to run out of paint. I keep paint. I have paint. And an ample supply of brushes. So I take this, open this gallon of white paint and a gallon of black paint. And I've got my brush and I dip it in the paint and I put it on the canvas, and guess what? It's a color. Look up the word color in the dictionary and see what it tells you. It may have more than one definition. It might use words like color, or it might use, in the definition, it might use words like tones, shades, and so forth. But in the case of me taking some paint out of a can on the end of my paintbrush and slapping it on that canvas, it becomes a color. All right. So, this is coming from an artist, a professional, lifelong painter. I know my paint. I know my stuff. You could say I am well, I did. I said professional. Professional painter. Professional artist. It is my occupation. It is what I do. And it is what I am. My mentor, one of them, back many years ago, when I was a young man, missed that, but that's another story. Said that he was a painter. He painted. And he didn't particularly say artist when he was talking about himself. He was an artist. He qualified as an artist. He qualified to be called an artist. He qualified to call himself an artist if he chose to do so. But he said, I'm a painter. And then he said, but you, D, are an artist. I think that's a compliment. And I'm very proud that he said that to me. It means something. It means that instead of just taking some paint and putting it on a canvas, I actually have a creative mind that I come up with new ideas and new creative processes. I come up with ways of using common, ordinary, everyday materials to make art. I've made art out of lava or a piece of rock. Dried lava. I'm looking at one right now. It is a rock in the form of a hideous face, or head, as it were, because it's three-dimensional. And I found it, I painted it, and I brought out the grotesque visual in the rock. It's a grotesque head with eyes and nose and a mouth. It's very grotesque. But it's beautiful in its grotesqueness. So, as an artist, I saw the potential of this piece of rock that I found in the creek on my estate. My humble estate. So, when I'm talking about paint, I mean white, black is a color. And I am an artist by occupation. That is to say, I occupy my time, my life, with making art. The visuals, verbals, and that is to say, sight, sound, literature, and by actions, because sometimes I act out the plot of a story or an idea or a concept. And I do it in my own fashion, my own style, and in my own good time, as it were. So, what we need to understand here is that we have people that like to argue. It seems to me that Americans have become a society of bickering, arguing fools. Now, I suppose the question would be, am I one of those fools? I have to be honest, don't I? Well, I don't have to be. As Bob Dylan says, I don't have to be honest with anyone but God and me. And in my case, it would be just me. Because ain't no God. And I feel sorry for Bob for becoming a Christian because, I mean, I'm guessing he was a Jew, then he converted to Christianity, and kind of spoiled it for me. I'm not saying he's not a good musician or he's not a good songwriter or poet, as it were, musical poet, musically inclined in poetry. But why would anybody be a Christian? Seriously. Now, people can analyze humanity and come up with various talking points, and then they can present their talking point, and then people can just argue and bicker like a bunch of chicken heads. And not really accomplish anything because apparently nobody wants to change their mind in this today's world. And it's probably been that way forever. I imagine back in the old days, back in the 1500s, and even up into the 1700s, for example, people believed in witches and believed that witches actually existed and that we actually have the right as human beings to murder them. You know, like the Bible says, and I find this very disturbing. Suffer ye not a witch to live. Now, does that mean that you should not allow a witch to live if you should run across one? Well, if you believe it's okay to murder people just because you think they're possessed by demons or that they are witches, if you think that's all right, you as an individual human being haven't really evolved past the thinking of someone back in 1450. I mean, that your brain has not evolved. You're still thinking with a brain that would fit in perfectly well in a society like Rome, Italy, Salem, Massachusetts, which was later than 1400s. And if you think that witches really exist and that you should murder them, and particularly if you just think so because you read something in a book called the Bible, which is pretty lame, really, even for a religious book, to be honest with you. But I'm not talking about the Muslim religion either at this point. But, pretty much on par with that mythological nonsense as well. But you're thinking on the level of someone with the mindset of someone living in 1400s. Your brain hasn't evolved from the time you were born, or even from the times when people actually believed that there were witches on the earth, and that they have the right or duty or religious sanctimonious self-righteous hypocrisy to murder them. And totally not get it, like absolutely totally not understand the concept of their own religious principle: thou shalt not kill. I really find it sadly amusing that Christians come up with this idea that, oh yeah, thou shalt not kill, dumbass, anybody, like human beings at all, but it's okay to murder Christians. It's okay to murder Muslims. Do I think, can I list them? Sure, I can. It's okay to murder Germans, Vietnamese people living in their little country, minding their own business, trying to survive, live, and be human beings just like the rest of us, and are not interested in killing anybody or shooting anybody or anything. Like Vietnam War, that atrocity, that crime against humanity perpetuated upon those innocent people by the United States government and the United States military, of which, by the way, I did not participate except to oppose it and resist it and refuse to participate in it out of conscience, out of moral or at least ethical standards that are higher than a dog. Sorry, don't mean to insult dogs here. But I guess it's all right to murder those people because they're not us. And terrible trend in America today is that Americans obviously and apparently think it's all right to murder fellow Americans and our neighbors and stuff. And it boggles the mind. These very same Christians are like, hey, I believe in Jesus, I believe in God. And turn right around and say, yeah, I'm going to totally ignore the part where it says I'm a Christian and I'm not supposed to. God says to me, don't kill people, don't murder people. And yet I do, and I support people who do, like the U.S. military that goes around the world murdering people. Like today, the United States government, United States military murdering people in Yemen, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, blah, 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 so on and so on and so on. But a lot of Christians in America. And prevalent in the population. And yet, none of them seems to follow the principle of their own religion, which says, you don't be going around killing people. Don't kill your neighbor. Don't kill people that live down the street from you. Don't kill anybody, because it's against the rules of your religion. Now, I don't think this is anything like brain surgery or rocket science. This is simple English concept. English in English. English is American language. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder people. Don't fucking murder people. Your religion says so. And if you do murder people, you're committed a sin, and pretty much an unforgivable one. And when I say unforgivable, I'm not talking about God forgiving you. Because what you need to worry about is your fellow human beings condemning you for your actions, your crime against humanity, your crime against God, if you want to bring God into the picture. So it just boggles the mind. I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I believe the Bible, Word of God. And then you turn around and say, I'm just going to ignore that. That part about, murdering people. I've read the Bible front to back, King James Version. And when I run across these parts where it says, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it in modern English. When it says, here, let's just say, okay, God is talking to Moses, and then Moses comes down to his people as they're wandering around the desert for 40 years in circles, apparently, murdering people, murdering village after village of people. Thou shalt not kill. Oh, well, excuse me, God, I'm just going to ignore that and do it anyway. And I'm just going to totally ignore the fact that if I kill people, I'm going to hell. Yeah, and none of that last minute confession shit and, forgive me, God, kind of bullshit. Because, nope, you need to be asking the victims that you murdered for forgiveness. You need to be asking the family of the victims that you murdered. Like in America today, you need to be asking the Arabs and Islamic people, or just the Afghanistans, or the Pakistans, or the Syrians, forgive me for murdering your family. If you're participating in the United States military today, you're guilty of crimes against humanity, because in one way, directly or indirectly, you've murdered innocent people in other countries, and you're not a Christian. And if you say you're a Christian, someone ought to just fucking bitch slap the shit out of you. They're being a fucking hypocrite, and a liar, and a self-righteous piece of shit. Oops! Judge not, yes, ye be judged. Okay? I'm willing to go with that one. Judge me. I'll judge you, you judge me. Good enough. You're a sinner, a criminal, and a pathetic human being. And I'm a decent human guy that's like, sees what you've done and condemns you for it. What have I done? Well, I can tell you this. I have never, in my almost 70 years of being alive as a human being on this planet, I have never, ever, ever, ever killed another human being. Period. Haven't done it. In any way, shape, or form. Shot them, stabbed them, strangled them, hanged them from a tree, like lynched somebody. Never. Not once. Not one single human being. Not once. In fact, I've never hung them, stabbed them, robbed them. Well, that just threw that one in there for a bonus. Never. Not once. I've never even had an abortion either, by the way. Didn't want to get into that. But I could say, I do know people that have had abortions. Or one abortion. And since a fetus is not a human being yet. But we won't get into the abortion thing because that would just make me, I would just do a lot of ranting and raving, I suppose. No, not really. At any rate, I've never killed anybody, never murdered anybody, never even participated in the execution of a criminal. or a person who, like a mass murderer, or in this case, like a president who has committed genocide, directly and indirectly, by being president and ordering, the military to go, drop bombs on a freaking country and totally wipe it off the face of the earth, like they did in Libya not too long ago. However, let's talk about this killing thing just for a second, and your Bible and your Christianity and your stupid shit and your mythological nonsense and your insanity and your hypocrisy and your self-righteous hypocrisy and your ignorance and your stupidity. Yes, talking about you. Not you, but you, them, whoever might be guilty as charged. So Moses says to his warriors, and he had quite a few apparently, tens of thousands of soldiers in his little Jewish army or Hebrew army, and he said to them, and I'm going to quote, paraphrase from the Bible, "Go to the next village, guys. All of my soldiers, listen up. Here's the orders for the day. Go to the next village, kill all the men." Did you hear that? We're talking Christians now. They're Jews, Hebrews, those old folks, a few thousand years ago. But Moses, the guy that you people revere as being such a wonderful person, such a saintly guy, did they ever make Moses a saint? Saint Moses? Wouldn't put it past me. Wouldn't put it past them. So, and he says, okay, guys, listen up. All you guys, you got all your swords and everything, all your weapons and stuff you're going to go and slaughter and cut and chop and kill and stab and stuff with. You got all that? Okay, ready to go. We're going to go. Well, you are. I'm not. I'm like too good to go do that because I don't even have to go anywhere else to rape people, murder people. I could do it right here. Because I'm like the king of the Jews, Moses. What do you call a guy that's like the ruler of a bunch of people wandering out in the desert for 40 years and giving them orders and they actually listen to you? Leader? Whatever. All right. So he says to his guys, okay, go to the next village and kill all the men. Now, when I'm talking about kill all the men, do you think maybe I'm talking about kill all of the boys? Like teenagers? Yeah, kill them too. Because, hey, they're old enough to walk around. They're old enough to carry a sword. They're old enough to fight back. They're old enough to try to protect their women folk from being raped and murdered by you Christian people, Hebrews, whatever, same thing. Pretty much on the same level. You worship this guy. You think this guy, Moses, is such a great, wonderful human being. I mean, oh yeah, he's a wonderful guy. And he lived to be like 900 years old or something. Yeah, right. No, he didn't. 120 years, whatever. No, he didn't. Sorry, just didn't happen. I think that'd be a clue right there. When you're reading the Bible, you say, oh yeah, Moses lived to be like a zillion years old and had like a zillion wives and shit. Concubines, slaves, sex slaves, whatever. Duh. I think that would give you a clue. That the religion you worship and the people in your religion, the main characters in your religious story were evil, disgusting, pathetic, murdering bastards. Anyway, they went to the next village, killed all the men. Oh, boys, since they were considered men and quite capable of taking up a sword against you. Yeah. They had young soldiers in those days too. What do they call that? So, child soldiers, or the modern term for giving guns to boys and saying, you're going to go fight with us in the war against whoever or whomever. Against whoever, actually. Don't put an M on the end of that word unless there's a thing in front of it, like of, at, to, by. All right. English lesson. And oh, by the way, before you go, let me tell you the rest of it. Kill all the men. That's like murder them, kill them. I'm sorry, I shall not kill Moses. Moses, pay attention. God says don't kill people. Then Moses tells his people that God said to him, hey, God told me to tell you, go to the next village and kill people. He didn't say, defend yourselves against the next village that's coming over here to kill you. He said, go to their village and murder them. If you don't see the problem with that, dear Christian, then you're dumber than I thought. And you wonder why I call you a hypocrite. A self-righteous, stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, retarded, fucking delusional, insane, stupid person. Sorry. That's the definition of insane. Believing in delusional bullshit. And being a hypocrite. And rape all the women, Moses said. Rape all the women, Moses said. Did you hear it? It came out of my mouth. It came from the Bible. That's what I'm reading from right now. Go to the next village. Murder all the men and boys, because they can fight you too. You were a teenager back then, and you were a boy, and you were expected to fight and carry a sword and fight people and defend yourself in your town, your city, your community, or your country against invading Jews, I mean Hebrews. Yeah, it was a way of life. Defend yourself, your country, your family, and your wife, and your mother, and your kids, and your sister against these raping, murdering, pillaging, breaking Hebrews, Jews, and then Christians. Like today. Got a lot of Christians going around murdering people around the world. Like in, like I said, Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Yemen. Americans. Christians. Going around the world murdering innocent men, women, children. Both, by the way, you're opposed to abortion, but you don't have a problem going over to a foreign country where there are other human beings just like you, human beings, part of the human family, part of the human species. Pregnant women. Let's drop a bomb on their house and blow them to smithereens and therefore abort not just mom, not just brother and sister, not just husband, brother, son, and father. Let's murder the baby that hasn't been born yet in the womb of that, I don't know, Arab Muslim woman. Just blow them and her fetus to smithereens, thus aborting them. So, fuck you if you think that abortion is a bad thing, and yet you support the United States military monsters, commit crimes against humanity, evil criminal traitors, and sinners. Thou shalt not kill. Christian. Oh, by the way, your Jesus guy and his little gang, his apostles, they were armed. They had swords because in the garden area, in the place, where when the Roman soldiers came to arrest him, was it the Roman soldiers or the Jewish soldiers? I mean the Hebrew soldiers. Who came to arrest him again? Who was it? Okay, let's say it was the Roman soldiers. Maybe not. You'd have to look it up in the book to find out which was. I'm not going to tell you. But let's just say the bad guys came to arrest Jesus. And the apostles drew their swords and, as I understand it, cut off the ear of one of the soldiers that came to arrest Jesus. With his sword, cut off the ear of one of the policemen, as it were. And this story is revered and loved and told over and over and over again, particularly around this time of year and Easter coming up. And Jesus' gang, apostles, were armed with swords and took up a sword, and, one of them cut off the ear of one of the policemen, law enforcement. I hate that phrase, by the way. Nazis used it. He cut off the ear of one of the guys. Like Jesus and his disciples didn't believe in violence at all. No. No killing for them, right? Thou shalt not kill. Or cut off the ears of the policemen when they come to arrest you, or your leader of your gang. So, well, now, isn't that just an interesting thing that you totally ignore in your Bible? And if you think you're going to be I'm going to apologize for that, I'm going to think of some reason why that's okie dokie to do that. Sorry, Jesus said, put down your sword, guys. Do not resist these guys. They are police. You will, not attack the police when they come to arrest me. Because they might arrest you too. Seeing as how you, cut off the freaking ear of one of the policemen. I mean, come on, guys. They've already got me for all kind of charges. Now you're going to add, resisting arrest and attempted mutilation of a policeman. Yeah, you didn't think the people, the soldiers or the policemen, you don't think of the Romans who came to arrest Jesus in that place? You don't think of them as policemen? They're policemen, cops, pigs. I mean, law officers. Okay, police officers. Yeah, that's who came to arrest Jesus. Cops. And and apparently, from what I read in the Bible, the book, the account of that event, one of Jesus's gang actually cut off the ear of one of the policemen. What are you shaking your head for? Why are you saying, that's not true? Yeah, it's in the book. Read the book. You claim you read the book. Read the book. Cut off the ear. All right, let's go back to Moses. They had swords. Duh. Okay. Go to the next village. Kill, I repeat, kill, quote, unquote, kill all the men. Here's the next part. This is the part I like. This is the part. I love this part. This part is so adorable. Right? Moses says, God told me to tell you, go to the next village, kill all the men, and rape all the women who have laid with a man. That is to say, who has had sex with a man. That is to say, who isn't a virgin. Rape all of them. I'm assuming here, I'm going to take a stretch and say, well, Grandma over there, the old lady, Grandma, the mother of the wife of the man you murdered, she got raped too, I guess, since she was a woman and had laid with a man. In other words, not a virgin. Probably raped Grandma. Think about that. Think about a bunch of hoodlums coming to your town, like motorcycle freaks and stuff, like in Hell's Angels gangs and murdering people. I'm not saying Hell's Angels are bad people. saying they're good people either. Anyway, so grandma gets raped, your mom gets raped, and you're a girl, like let's say a virgin, and you're like about 12, 13, 14 years old, and you're like, I'm a virgin. And I'm a girl. And these damn Hebrews are attacking my village and slaughtering my people. And they raped my grandma and they raped my mom. And, they didn't rape me because I'm a virgin. What I'm wondering is, how did they know who was a virgin and who wasn't a virgin? Just a question there. How do they know that, 14-year-old, can't think of a name for these folks at the moment, Hassan Muhammad, how do they know that she was or wasn't a virgin? Anyway, well, grandma's not a virgin. Look, she got grandchildren. So they rape the mothers and grandmothers and wives of men, and rape them. Rape. Can you just picture that in your mind? Tens of thousands of Hebrew Jewish soldiers coming into your town and just raping all the women in your town, wherever you live. I mean, let's say I live near Worthington, West Virginia. There's 300 or 400 people live there. And there's some grandmothers and mothers and some young wives and some virgins. And just imagine all the men from, say, Fairmont, West Virginia, travel the 7 miles to Worthington and just start killing everybody. Men, all the men, kill men, kill all the men. Just imagine that. Hundreds of men roaming through the streets of Worthington or whatever town you might be living in, and just men murdering and raping and killing and raping and murdering people in your town. And then they come to you, and suppose you're a virgin, like a teenager, and you haven't been with a guy. You weren't raped, because they're going to save you for something special later. All right? So they kill your father, they kill your grandfather, they kill your brother, they kill all the boys and men in your neighborhood, and the only thing left is grandmothers who were raped, and mothers raped, and your sister who's married raped, and what, then murdered too, I guess, you think? And then we come to you, the virgin girl, the little girl who has never been fucked. Oops. Save her for later, guys. Bring her back home. Go to the next village, kill all the men, rape all the women who have laid with a man, and bring all the virgins home and make sex slaves out of them. Yep. Dearly beloved Moses told his soldiers, his heathen, his animal soldier guys, just barbaric pieces of animal disgusting vermin. Go to that next village that hasn't attacked them, by the way. There's some people living over there in the town, visiting, minding their own business, going about the business. Peaceful people, haven't attacked you at all, but you decide you're going to go there and attack them, even though they haven't attacked you yet. Sound familiar? Just think of it this way. Modern day Moses, call him the President of the United States, wandering the world, the 40 acres of the planet, 40 years of the planet, 40 countries of the planet. Just think of it this way. Donald Trump, go over there to Syria and drop some bombs on those innocent men, women, and children, and bring back the virgins and make sex slaves out of them. Fuck their eyes out in your house, where you might keep them, chained in the basement. I don't want to be unfair here. I don't want to just pick out Donald Trump. Let's pick out Obama, George Bush, animals like that. George Bush is really guilty of doing things, terrible things. Crimes against humanity. The man's still alive. It's just surprising. I went over time. I can't do this. I got to stop.